Now this crack is here, but then the next crack is way over here. So if it should crack this way, it's going to go all the way to there. They didn't score this much different.
The concrete, the surface tension is what happens. The top dries quicker than anything else.
Right.
You can imagine the depth below it. And it can only, when you put the visqueen, which is a city requirement nowadays, it's just plastic in essence, there's only one way for it to dry, is back up. So cracks the tops more than they used to. We got 2x10 floor joists. We, unlike a lot of builders in town, use a 50-year finish on our subfloor, which is acquired over a period of time. We actually screw all of our floors down too.
Oh, God.
We do another neat little trick too. Before we wrap tie back around here, in the old days, builders used to toenail that cap on there, and that was 90% of your floor squeaks over the years. Is those rusted nails. So they get wet, they were toenail back to there. That's glued down where you can see the glue oozing out of there. So we just wrap it with tie back. Now you can cut that once the glue dries, and the whole web is tied together. It's structurally sound.
What's toenail is?
Do I?
What's toenail?
Oh, a toenail is taking one of your framing nails like this, shooting it sideways through, at an angle through that top plate, and then bending it over with a hammer.
Wow.
Toenail is like
question.
this. That is a good question. Shot like that, and it'll expose out this way.
What's
200 amp electrical service coming in nowadays. Handles pretty much anything. We finished this whole basement out, and you still have plenty of space to finish more things like that. Arc fault interrupters nowadays. If a nail's shot into an electrical line in the wall and the arcs across there, as opposed to causing a fire, it'll trip an arc fault interrupter.
Oh.
Which is a little tricky.
Is that required by
It's required.
code now?
Yeah. 2009's every single one of them have to be arc fault interrupters.
Do they also
which is tricky.
Or is that all through Johnson County?
Anybody that's adopting 2009 will be required to do that.
Okay.
Which is tricky because the filament of a light bulb is an arc, and it'll trip it. Because you're arcing
You
across
have
that.
like 5 slots that are open. Is there, by code, are you supposed to have so many open on a 200 amp at all?
Nope.
It can be
If you
totally
fill it
full.
up and you do anything else, it's your builder's responsibility to put a sub panel in.
Sub,
Put another.
If it is full, it has to have another panel.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
Is that the alarm system?
Cable.
Yeah. This
Could
is
be a alarm.
This is your brain system, Leviton, Cat 5 and RG6 cable. It'll handle just about anything you want to push throughout your house nowadays.
What do you call that cable again? RG.
RG6.
Is there an alarm system in this house?
There is no alarm system in this house. Most of the time nowadays, I don't recommend people hardwiring for alarms. They're modular, they're cellular. ADT will install for free. It's hard to compete against that as a builder to pre-wire, do all that stuff for it with the technology that's out there nowadays. And they'll give you, with a 1-year contract, they'll install that stuff for free.
So what is that for?
This is phone, cable, Ethernet, all that type of stuff. Punched down right here, one central location. And this is kind of getting a little bit redundant nowadays too with your wireless technology. That you can put one router in the house and run everything off of it.
Hey, Chad, explain to me why there's a piece of wood behind the electric box.
You have to back up to that because every 12 inches you got to have staples and punch down on this. So to control the heat, all kinds of different things, and the structural integrity of it too. We have an 80% furnace on this house. It's gas, natural gas, forced air. Pretty typical of what you'll see nowadays. It's rated in zone. Most builders that have any net worth will look at the global view of the house, how much space is going to be conditioned one way or the other.
What's this little safety thing?
That's a thermal expansion tank. Some plumbers used to put those in just to add life to a hot water heater, and since then a lot of municipalities are requiring them now. So it's a double down, so if it gets too hot, or besides this temperature control valve here, which will let water out before the hot water heater blows up, it's the same thing. It lets it overexpand into there. Nowadays, the hot water heaters, this is natural gas also, are so efficient. This is 50 gallons that you don't see as many people putting them together in tandem anymore because they have such high recovery. You have electronic ignition, so no more matches, that type of stuff. I had a couple that were 4 adults, and they all showered within an hour in the morning, every morning, and we had a 50-gallon State Select, and they had hot water the entire time. So
That's a 40?
This is 50.
That's a 50?
Is this immediate if you're upstairs? Does the hot water, when you turn on your shower, come
No,
on hot?
you're
Is it
looking for
still a warm-up?
a hot water recirculating pump. There's 2 ways to do that. You can have your plumber loop a line that'll do it through the convection of the hot water itself, or you can install a power pump on here to do that. But the cost and the return on investment, $400 or $500 for some of that stuff, you might just want to wait a few seconds to get the hot water up there.
Is that a gas? Is that a gas or an electric water heater?
This is a gas hot water
Why?
heater.
How do you tell?
This
See
is
the
called
gas
board
line?
flex. Whenever you have a line like that coming in that's flexible, it's called board flex.
Yeah.
So if you filled your whirlpool
Ward.
tub up,
Yes.
if you filled your
Whirlpool
tub
tub
up
up. Uh-huh.
and then you did laundry with a 50-gallon, you still would have hot
You
water?
need about 15 minutes on these newer high recovery ones, yeah, for it to recirculate back to get true hot on the hot
So
water.
you think with the cost of what water is, I don't know what the cost or gauge is, but, so I'm upstairs wanting to take a shower,
Correct?
and I have to wait several, I mean, especially in the winter, you have to wait for that water to warm up. So we're wasting water. You still feel that that's not, I mean, I guess it's affordable as to what the buyer wants to spend, again. But I'm just wondering at the cost of water on the long
It's very
term
subjective to each individual, yes. And I'm not a big fan
and
of,
the ease of it.
I'm not the biggest environmentalist in the world. A lot of that stuff is faux pas. Even the E-Star stuff, they just had a national rating saying, oh, you're 15% savings, you know, if you prorate that over the years. But they finally did it nationally, and it's 7.1%. It's half of
So
what.
you said this is 80% versus 90 or 92, which
yeah.
you see a lot. Is that kind of the same?
Well, typically you see the 80%.
Yes.
More so,
Generally standard.
you're paying for any upgrades
What's your
above
question
80.
maybe is, what's the return on investment of going to 92%?
Right, okay.
Is natural gas is pretty affordable right now, so not
This
a lot of
week?
people are optioning. This week, that's correct. Not a lot of people are optioning for it. So
What are you seeing with electrical homes?
electric's still too volatile and too expensive.
It is expensive.
KCP&L's got a 17.2% increase coming. So that's city particular. Kansas City is very much an island in the stream when it comes to the construction industry. St. Louis is all electric. You know, it's all masonry also, or all vinyl. So Kansas City is very different, very different. So we're a big natural gas city. You go over the state line on the Missouri side here, you'll find some electric stuff, but the return on investment going to electric is not as good. But plus your electric hot water heaters have half the shelf life, a few things like that. So
Yeah, these
the products we've got are pretty proven.
When you get into, at what square footage would you expect to see 2 units in a home of a HVAC?
Good question. It also depends on the floor plan. A story and a half or 2-story. If you broke the 2400 envelope, I would say go to zoning. Reverse story and a halfs like this, one usually does it. A little bit of maintenance on your own by adjusting the dampers and stuff on here. With just 2 levels to deal with, it's pretty good. You're dealing with 3 levels when you go to a story and a half or 2-story.
Chad, explain what the damper is.
The dampers are, this is well, here's how the airflow actually works. This is charged air here, is blown out through all this. This is returned air. So it's non-conditioned coming back in, so it goes through this cycle. This will be a return air duct. You can see it coming in back up here, filtering through here. It's got a vacuum on it. What was your question again?
The damper.
What's the,
The damper. So this house in particular, if you wanted, this is not the best candidate. Well, if it was a 2-story, we'd have a chase shooting up through there. In the wintertime, it'll burn you up because heat rises. You would want to turn the dampers down. There's a big steel plate in there that can close that ductwork off. So you would shut that down in the wintertime on a 2-story plan.
That's what we do, so the
And
heat
then
goes
open it back
to-
up, yes, in the summertime. Because you want all your...
Or you can just
Air to
readjust
the
it
top.
accordingly.
And some
Plus,
homes
I
have
mean,
an automatic damper system, right?
same thing is subjective and return on investment. If you spend $5K to do a zone system, you got to think of, is it worth 3 or 4 times a year me to go around and manually adjust those in the dampers and the floor vents out there, or you kind of spend that $5,000 somewhere else. And it'll happen in the springtime or the fall. It'll happen 2 or 3 times because we just went through it. It was 70 degrees one day. We had the air conditioner on. The next day we got the furnace on. Kansas City, Midwest. Go figure.
These have humidifiers built in them?
No,
Yeah,
that's an
my
option,
question.
and it's a very good thing, especially in the Midwest with the true 4 seasons we have. We used to do digital ones. Lancaster Brothers are an exceptional HVAC company, the best in town, the best trade partner I've ever worked with in my life, actually.